take away the fact that stop waiting for perfect is a most fabulous phrase for you to have in your toolbox. So when I let go of perfect, what I'm letting go of is that need for external validation. So what tends to happen with all of us when we're doing anything, when we're writing certain emails, or we're, you know, crafting and doing a bit of hobby work or whatever, we hold back from showing our true selves. We hold on to things pretending that we still don't think they're good enough and they're not perfect enough, or it's not the perfect time to do something or to say something, for fear of how we will be judged or critiqued. When we let go of external validation, we start doing things because we are happy with what we're doing, and we start valuing our own worth. So, and that's what happened to me when I let go of perfect. I put out enlightenment, and I've now had 49 graduates through it over 2.5 years. And I'm immensely proud of that and wish I'd done it earlier, but still really fabulous to be moving forward with it. And it's about the fact that when I let go of worrying what other people felt, when I let go of needing that external validation, I started to value my own worth, and I started to say, do you know what, I'm really proud of what I've done, and I'm going to share it. And that is a really different place to be. So again, with some of the stuff that you might be procrastinating over, is it because you have that fear of that validation that you need and that need to perfect something? Does that make sense?
Yep.
So perfectionism and not being enough is a huge part of procrastinating. So there are a few things that you can have a think about to help you with that. One of them is values, which we talked about a bit earlier, in a sense of what I'm doing, does it honour my values? So again, you know, if you're doing a task that really doesn't connect with who you are as a person and what you believe in, then of course you're going to procrastinate because you don't see the purpose of the task, and you don't feel aligned to it at all. Now, unfortunately, cleaning and, you know, cooking and stuff, we may not be aligned to, but we still got to do it to survive, right? But there might be other things in our life that we're holding back on doing because it doesn't align with us. So it's having to think about your values. The other thing which I mentioned earlier, and I used Joe as an example, was thinking about the expectations. So are you setting yourself unrealistic expectations of what you're trying to achieve? So, you know, if you're trying to achieve 25 things off your 100 item to-do list in quarter of an hour, you're setting yourself up for a fall, right? And you're not being very self-compassionate. So it's thinking about actually what is more realistic for you. Here's a question for all of you, which I'd love you to think about, is what could happen if you accepted you are enough as you are? Absolute silence. It's a big question, right? And I expect right now there is a riot of gremlins across this screen, whether I can see you or not. You are all enough. You have all stepped up, shown up, done your bit in this program. Whether you are internally working through everything, sharing, emailing, whatever it is, you are all absolutely owning your space in this program and all showing up in your own way. And again, it's really interesting because what I don't want right now is comparison gremlins. Some of you've got your videos on, some of you haven't. Some of you have emailed me, some of you haven't. Some have shared in the group, some haven't. It's all about what is right for you at any stage. And it's about doing what's right for you and being okay with that. Yeah, does that make sense? Cool. So Dawn's having to leave us because she's got to go off. So bye, Dawn, if you're still there. And bye, babe. And we'll catch up with you later.
See you later. Bye.
Thank you. So it's all right. She's not panicked by the question. She's got to go and do something. But it's about being enough as you are. It's so important. I can't tell you. I wish someone had showed this type of work to me earlier on. But again, I'm so grateful that I have it in my life now and I can share it with you lot. So please recognise you are absolutely enough and more. And if that means you use it as an affirmation every single day to remind yourself, then absolutely please do. The other question is around is striving for perfection limiting my progress, which it very much was for me. So again, for any of you that are holding back on doing something or being something, is it again because you're trying to limit your progress because you're trying to perfect it? So again, have a think about that. So example, I was talking to somebody yesterday who not in the program, but I was talking to someone yesterday who's decided they really want to bring gratitude into their life this year. So they've gone out, they've bought the, they haven't bought the t-shirt, but they've gone out and bought the journal and they're all ready to do it and they're doing their practice every day. But actually, potentially, they're setting themselves up to fall, because what they're doing is they've got this really strict rule that they have to do their journal every night. They've got to have 3 inserts. One of them's got to be expanded. And they've set themselves such a rigid routine about what they're going to do that obviously if they miss one night, to them, they've stopped doing it. So for any of you that are deciding throughout this program that you want to invite new ideas into your life or new ways of doing things, please be compassionate and realistic about what it is that you're going to do to move that forward. Because to start with, maybe doing a gratitude journal twice a week would be a great way to start, because it gives you a bit more flexibility, gives you a bit more compassion if for one reason you can't do it. So just have a think about that as well in terms of what it is that you're doing in terms of moving yourself forward. It can feel like a great big sigh of relief as I say that, like, you don't have to do these new practices every day. Yeah. And the last one around the perfectionism is, where do I need clarity? So where do you need to get clearer on what it is that you're really stopping yourself doing? Maybe there's a task that you've got to do and it's only one aspect of the task that you're procrastinating over. Maybe it's the first step or the middle bit or whatever. So again, maybe it's some clarity around exactly what it is that's holding you back. So how are we feeling? Has anybody got any questions? We've got about 10 minutes left, or has anybody got anything in particular that they're procrastinating over that they would like some help with? Everyone's procrastinating over even asking.
Yeah, mine's similar to yours with the whole perfectionism thing, and it's just I never feel ready to do it because I think I'm just not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. So yeah, it's helped just thinking about it and thinking, just start, just get something out.
Can I ask a question? Caroline, hi.
Yeah, go for it. Are you asking me a question, or do you want to ask Jo a question?
Jo.
Okay, yeah, if Jo's up for that.
Yeah, fine.
And don't take this the wrong way, but my question is, I do that, and I think it's, will you ever be ready?
Oh, I know. Totally.
The answer is probably no, so just do it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's it. I'm starting to slowly get there to that realization.
I mean, that's really easy for me to say, but
yeah. No, I mean, that's it. It's never going to be enough because I've just done a training course, and I remember thinking, when I've done this training course, I'm going to be fully qualified and then I'm going to be ready. But obviously now I'm coming to the end of the training course, I'm thinking, well, I could do like 10 more training courses and then I'll really know the whole sphere of everything, instead of thinking, right, I've done what I thought I would need to do to feel ready. Yes. So there's never going to be a time.
It's like learning to drive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good example, actually. There's no growth. There's no growth in the comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
No, I know. Yeah, exciting times ahead.
I'd like to ask a question, if you don't mind, and this can be to all of you, but what's the worst that can happen if you did just start with whatever it is any of you want to start with?
Nothing.
Or it's just look a bit silly. If you're doing something publicly, say on Facebook or LinkedIn, or putting something out there, or creating a website, putting something out there, for me it's like, oh, what if they say, oh yeah, like you were saying, oh, who's she to suddenly do this? That's all it is for me. But like you say, I don't really care as much as I think I do, weirdly enough.
So with that, a great thing would be to do, so you can probably watch it on through Google, but Brené Brown talks about something called the arena. in
Oh,
one of her books. And the arena is all about, unless you are in the arena doing the same thing as what I'm doing, you have no right to judge me.
Oh, right.
And actually, do you really want to take on board their opinion? Do they really matter to you? So she talks a lot about, I love Brené, but she talks a lot about the arena, and she also talks about that in your life, you will only be able to, at any one time, you will probably only have 2 to 3 people that truly champion you. You will be able to write their names on a postage stamp, and they will be the people in your life that truly support you, have your back, and are honest with you at any one time in life. And you know, if something happens, you will be able to call that person and be like, oh man, I've so just done this, and they will have your back, and they will provide empathy and support, whatever. So if those people that might judge you for whatever you're doing are not on your postage stamp, then they don't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I learned. Sorry?
What's that person called?
Brené Brown. Brene Brown. She's one of the top 3 TEDx ever watched in the world. She's
And
amazing.
that you were just talking about, what's it called?
The Arena.
The Arena.
The Arena.
I think I need to read that.
Yeah, it's from her, is it her Rising Strong or her Daring Greatly book? It's really, really powerful. Brené also did a thing on Netflix called Call to Courage, which was just over a year ago, which is a great watch. It's about 50 minutes long. If you want some homework, I thoroughly recommend that. I feel very blessed. I've been on 2 of Brené's courses facilitated by someone in this country that's facilitated to run her work, and I also have a friend who I deliver Brené's work with over here. But also Brené has done a couple of webinars for the NHS, and I've managed to get on both the calls. So although I haven't personally spoken to her, I've had her in my ear, which was, you know, when you have an idol, it was just immense. So she's fabulous, and I'm a huge fan of hers and Kristen Neff's work. I bring a lot of that, weave a lot of that into the stuff that I do, because I've been through it. You know, if you go to my website and read my background story, you know, I've been through it, and I've come out the other side. And it's a bit like, you know, with this self-worth stuff, you don't suddenly nail it and everything's fine all the time. You have to work through it, and it's a practice. It's a bit like John Kabat-Zinn, who was one of the first founders of mindfulness. He talks about the fact that you can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. And I love that quote. And I think that's so true about most things in life. You know, we can't stop the stress that comes into our life. We can't stop ourselves doubting ourselves, but what we can learn to do is to get through it and have different strategies to help us pull ourselves back up again. So I think that's really, really helpful. So thank you for sharing that. I hope, and thank you for all the contributors there, because I think that's really, really helpful. So thank you. Does that help you as well, Jo? That's really full for you.
Yeah, great.
Brilliant.
Got lots of notes about what I'm doing next.
Excellent. Anyone else got anything that they'd like to add? Or if you don't want to speak up, you can write in the chat and private chat me, and then I can talk it through anonymously. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. Have a think about, I guess, what's the most powerful, useful or valuable thing you can take from this call tonight that will move you forward. And it may well be that you need to sit with it, and it will weave into some of the work you do over the next week. But it's about, again, a lot of stuff that's happening on the programme right now is just about everything bubbling up. So make sure you're kind to yourselves, because there's probably lots of stuff that's bubbling up over the last few days, and you're starting to doubt yourself a bit, and you're worrying that maybe this is a bit hard, or you know, maybe you're not giving enough to it, or you didn't realise how many things you didn't have. You know, like a lot of people with Sian last night were recognising that you know, they're all imposters, aren't we all at times? It's okay. It's okay to go through all of this. The difference is what you choose to do next with that. You know, choice is everything. So make sure you're kind to yourselves tonight. So thank you so much for joining me. Just going to double check any other questions or comments before we close. Right, can everyone manifest this part of the call is going to save for me, please? It says, I don't know if it says on your screen, but it says on mine it is recording. We are hoping it's going to
say it's recording.
I know, it's what we did last week, and then for some reason
it did last week.
Yeah, I know, it's really odd, isn't it? So we're going to check. Before I end this call, I'm just going to check that the other one has saved. If you would just bear with and just not leave me for a second. Okay, so we're now going to hope that this one is going to save as well. If it doesn't,
Just recording on mine, if that makes a difference.
yeah, I know, it's really odd. It did last week. If not, I'll have to come back in and chat about it, but hopefully people are getting it from this. Thank you so much for being here, ladies. Thank you to those of you watching the playback. Do feel free to comment in the group. If anyone has any questions that bubble up, you're most welcome to message me, email me, send me a pigeon, whatever way you wish to communicate, send a flare, whatever it is. That's absolutely fine. Thank you for dealing with my croaky voice as well. It's lovely to spend some time with you. Have a wonderful rest of the evening, and I will speak to you all soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.